So, a couple of signs that you are stuck in the boy psychology is one, you are constantly chasing validation from women, from society. Regardless, you're always on somebody's validation. You're on women's validation by wanting them to show you love and affection. You're on society's validation by buying expensive things just to prove to them that, oh, I've got it. Do you know how childish it is? To buy things simply because you want to show off, not because you really love the items. More on this later, but two is you are constantly chasing pleasure, comfort. That's why you see that boy psychology. You scroll social media all the time, you eat trash, you barely work out, you jack off to porn, and you tell yourself, oh, I need these things to help me relax. Relax from what? What do you really have in your life that is causing you to relax? But those things are just distractions. The third thing is putting women on a pedestal. Bro, I see way too many boys. And this thing comes from a scarcity mindset. When you put women on a pedestal, you tell women that, oh, you are above me, you are above my purpose. And do you really know what happens when you put a woman above you? In case you don't know, when you treat her like a celebrity, she treats you like a fan. I'll tell you this because, like I said, if you don't know my story, yes, at some point I had this boy psychology. At some point, we've all been there, right? And these things at times coming at the same time with feminism and the lack of role models. Now, I'm not here to bash my father, but my father did his best. He did his best, but still, I think what I had in my own case was what is called middle child syndrome, where you don't really get attention at all, right? So you do a lot of things to get attention and validation from other people. So when I say I know this thing, I know this thing to a T, where I used to please people just to be around them. I used to bend over backwards just to be around them. And like I said, I began to have this man psychology, and I'm very grateful for it. I had it early on. Right, so what should you really do? What is the direct opposite of being of going from a boy psychology to a man psychology? The main thing is with the boy psychology, you're doing things to fit into the world. You're doing things so other people can say, oh, you're a good boy. Oh, this is it. So what I mean is you're faking it. It's not real, it's not authentic. But as a man psychology, the world fits you. What I mean is you could say you could see some people, hang out with them and realize that, bro, these guys are not the people I want to be around with, and you simply walk away because you don't have to fit into them. What I mean is the people who you are around are people who you are vetted and are worth being around you. So speaking of that, speaking of the seeking validation, I have a story that happened to me recently, right? So one day I was at the pool by 6 a.m. I was in the pool by 6 a.m. on the dot, right? Not so that's from my discipline. So about 30 minutes later, these two boys walked into this pool, right? They walked into the pool, and something interesting happened. About 30 minutes later, so there are two boys and then their father walking into the pool. Something interesting happened because about 30 minutes after, one of the swim coaches walks into the pool, and then one of these boys are age 9 and 6. They look like that. One of the boys says, Coach, have I gotten faster? And the coach was like, yeah, you're faster. And this boy was so happy. Then it dawned on me that, hold on. I looked at this coach. This coach looked at me with the eye of, oh, well, what did you expect me to say? He wanted to hear something, and I told him what he wanted to hear. And at that moment, I kind of realized that this is how validation works. Because this boy now will grow up, right? Still, maybe, for example, now craving his mother's love or craving that feminine love, and he would do some dumb shit so that women can tell him, I love you. He will do some stuff so that women can say, oh, you're a good boy. Take a pat on your head. I'm like, bro, this is how it starts. I'll tell you this, right? The first step from going from a boy psychology to a man psychology is start doing things for you. Bro, I see way too many guys do things for women. I'm like, prof, boys, wake up. There are way too many boys in this gym because of women. You want to know how I know this? The moment they have a girlfriend, they leave the gym. The moment they have a girlfriend, they leave the gym. Or 4 to 6 months into their gym membership, they stop coming simply because they discover that they can't get girls. I've seen a lot of guys are literally in the gym, right? They are literally in the gym, and when they don't get girls, they leave or they become angry. I'm like, bro, how the fuck are you doing it for them? Right? I remember I made a story of how women emasculate men, and trust me, I remember this same story because that story was from my cousin who lives in the UK. You will tell my cousins, but let me focus on one who I hadn't seen in a long time. But when I saw him and he was all like, his body was loose, I was like, bro, what the fuck happened to you? He starts going off with the idea that, oh, man, he doesn't really know. He just woke up Sunday and realized that he was now chubby. And bro, at what point did you stop going to the gym? Bottom line is he stopped going to the gym when he got into a relationship. And I'm like, bro, can you see that? So your woman kind of made you stop going to the gym. Your woman made you stop going to the gym. Can you hear what you're saying? Bro, it was like a rude judgment. I'll tell you this. I'm not going to lie to you. In the brotherhood, I'll tell you the harsh truth. How the fuck did that happen? You see, so that boy psychology would make you do things for other people because you want to please them. Now, it's okay to do things for people, but not at your detriment. That's a boy psychology. It's a boy psychology. It's a boy psychology to say, I'm uncomfortable now because of these people. Because here's the harsh truth. Nobody really cares about how much discomfort you have placed yourself through. But a man will say, you know what? Nah, I won't put myself through that discomfort simply because I want this person to validate me. That is why I tell you, this kind of confidence comes from the fact that you are prioritizing your vision, your goals, your mission. You see, as a man, when you begin to have goals, right, what happens is, when you begin to hit your goals, what happens is your thinking begins to align towards this man thinking where you can tell the guys that are distractions. You can tell the guys that are not worth it. Simply because you have a goal your mind is working towards. You see, when you begin to have this man psychology, you can tell yourself, you can basically realize that when you're buying objects, you're not buying objects for people to validate you. Because I see a lot of guys who have like the flashiest watches. That basically reminds me, right? This saying that, oh, just have money, bro. Do you know how crazy it is? Because I remember being with this girl, right? And then she shows me her ex. Her ex is one of those big boys on Instagram. Right? But she says that this guy has massive insecurities to the point where she had to leave. And I'm like, wow, social media is definitely a game of looks. It's a game of appearance. Because the boy psychology of me a few years ago would have said, this guy is perfect. He looks decent, like very decent. He's rich. So what's the problem? This is what I tell you as a guy. In your 20s, make sure you get rid of a shit ton of insecurities. Because insecurities often come from the boy mentality, but what? With the ability of a man. You have the boy mentality, but you can do things that men can do. Or in your mind, you think money alone can solve your problems. You think having a good body alone can solve your problems. So you end up doing these things for other people's validation. You see, it's like that boy mentality will tell you to buy an expensive watch so you can show off. The man psychology will tell you, no, buy this watch because it is because you like it, because it's functional, it's practical. And trust me, and I remember why speaking of because you like it, right? I remember I had this guy come around me, right? And then he came to me one day and says he wants to buy my face caps. I used to like wear a lot of face caps because of I keep my hair and everything. And then I was like, bro, you can afford caps elsewhere. Why do you want to buy my cap? And he was like, oh, he likes the way they look on me. And I'm like, bro, it's because these things, they fit me. They will not fit you. But guess what? He still insisted, and I showed the caps to him, and I'm like, bro, I mean, you're my guy. You have to realize that. I get that you may like that about me, but you don't have to do that. Like, form your own fashion because, bro, I have built my body, right, to a particular level, and there's a way I walk. Now, you can wear my cap. If you don't walk like me, if you don't look like me, then I'm not even telling you to do that. I'm telling you to do things for you, right? And I always say this in that, bro, a boy psychology would always do things for other people, regardless of not. The second thing I'll take you from a boy psychology to a man psychology is the willingness to make sacrifices. Oh boy, it comes from this idea that you want to please people. As a boy, because you want to please people, you are afraid to make sacrifices, right? And then a typical example is when I had that boy psychology, right? When I'm talking to people or to women, I always like to stay in line, always force myself to conform to the situation. A typical example is you're talking to a girl, right? Your body is stiff, you want to be perfect, act laid back, right? Posture, or just do something that makes you look stiff and dead. Adjust your clothing, ask yourself, is my shirt rumpled here and there and everything? Until recently, right? I discovered that may look perfect, but something that's more attractive is being yourself. Let me show you what is being yourself is called. So I'm talking to a girl, right? At a party, a night party. And I see that my hips are like paining me from like my training couple of the day before. No, it's the night party. So yeah, the day before. And then I put my leg on this window and I'm stretching my hips. And she's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, I'm sorry, apologies, but my hips are like paining me right now from like training. And she's like, oh, what do you train, Miss Martial Arts? I can tell you for a fact that, bro, that actually felt like bragging, but it was not bragging, right? But what I'm saying it felt like bragging is because I could immediately tell that the interest increased. You would know when it increases, the way her eyes would light up. And she wants to hear more about what I do. Bro, it's not about me, it's about you, bro. Another thing I've seen here is that I've seen way too many guys, right? They would, if they're having a conversation with a girl, right, they are too afraid to voice out their interests, their opinions, because they feel like, okay, if this person disagrees with me, right, we will no longer become friends. And a man will tell you, no, that's like fake friendship. Trust me, even a boy mentality will spot a fake friend and we want that fake friend to just be there. This shit gets to me, especially when I notice way too many guys that take drugs together. Now, drugs, if I don't take drugs, is your business, but you kind of realize that doing drugs, smoking weed, drinking alcohol forces some people to just come into your life. The people who have no bearing, who have no direction, to just magically walk into your life. I'm like, boy, that's a boy mentality because, boy, I've seen guys, I know some serious men who do these drugs, right? Who smoke, who drink, but they are very careful who they do it around. Again, because they have the man psychology. And if you watch my videos, one thing you get to realize is that I keep talking about always surrounding yourself with men who are higher than you, who are more advanced than you. And I've noticed that these guys that I truly respect, who are like the alpha males, right? These guys, they don't drink, right? They won't even touch the bottle if it's not their guys that are around them. They wouldn't touch. So if you go out, if they invite him to a party and we're going to a party where his guys are not there, I'll probably just follow him as a company so we can just chill and talk and everything. He won't touch the bottle. He will stick to water. I'm like, bro, because it's like, if anything happens, this guy say, they can't do shit for me, and he has to be very vigilant. And trust me, you see, surrounding yourself with men with guys with the male mentality will completely change your life. Then I also noticed that speaking of his guys, right, one thing about the man psychology is the brotherhood. Because that willingness to, I always say a lot of guys, the boy psychology will tell you, okay, you know what, let me form a brotherhood. But if I get into a relationship with a woman, I'll prioritize the relationship over a brotherhood. Let me ask you a question, right? When you have problems in your relationship or you have problems in life, what do you take them to? Well, I believe that you are still a young boy, so as a young boy, you think you take it to your girlfriend, right? But here's the harsh truth. Women don't really solve men's problems. If a woman women will just listen to you, they want you to rant because to them, that is how they feel good. They rant about their problems. But guess what? That does not solve the problem. That does not solve jack shit. But when you have the brotherhood around you, guess what happens? They come through for you. They always come through for you. But guess what? Every single guy I know that has that boy mentality, whenever they get into a relationship, the first thing they do is ditch their friends. You also hear things like, man, bro, do you have a brotherhood because of your girl? Now your girl is in the picture, and guess what happens? The relationship always dies. Do you know why it dies? It dies simply because the things that the woman found attractive in you as a boy, you stop doing them. You start listening to her. And let me tell you something as a boy, with the boy psychology, right? If you have the boy psychology, no, in short, regardless of your psychology, women would always test you. You see, women, what's funny thing about women is, if you're not red-pilled, you will keep listening to what women are saying. But I'll tell you this, I'm not here to bash women. Instead, watch what they are doing. When you watch what they are doing carefully, you begin to use your brain to come up with proper theories about women. Let me just help you skip years of wasting your time. Is women want men that are very, very firm. That's why women will test you to see how firm you are. But when you fail the test back to back constantly, he walks away from your life, right? And whether I like it or not, they won't tell you this. They will never tell you this. So your boy psychology will always keep failing you. And because I have a lot of guys in my DMs, in my short form platforms, who always come and say things like, oh bro, your content really resonated with me. How do I help myself? And all their problems, well, most of their problems is they are in a relationship and their girlfriend has lost respect for them. That's simply because they kept on doing things for the girl. Now, I'll tell you this. I'm not here to tell you never please your woman. No. But this is it. You have a priority as a man. Your priority is your purpose, it's your mission, it's your goals. Women are supposed to come into your life to assist you to create a better life for two of you. That's supposed to be, that used to be the trade where your father or the men in the past, they used to be on their own path. And the women come into their life to make the path easier. What that means is a simple test. If your girl is not making your path easier, if your girl is not making your path or your purpose easier for you, dump her. It's a simple litmus test. I'm simply telling you this because now I'm not in a relationship. One thing I'll tell you for a fact is every single woman that wants to be in a relationship with me, she's always trying to prove herself. And women know this. If women have tested you and they see that you're worth it, this is why I'll tell you that women will come here, right, and want to help me cook. I'm like, hey, don't do that. I already have a cook. And these are things I don't really like to brag about because it makes you feel like, oh, I'm on top G. Bro, I don't have any course on how to get women. I'll tell you this, bro. Start adopting the man psychology, and before you know it, magically, women can smell that thing. That is why it's called aura for a reason, you know. So another thing I've noticed about brotherhood is your brotherhood would always be there when your relationship crashes. Your brotherhood will always be there to pick you up when you're down. But guess what happens? When you're down, what happens? A lot of the time, most of the divorces that happen are triggered because of money problems. Now think about it. If you abandon your brotherhood, we keep speaking about the male loneliness. But bro, the male loneliness, what happens if you have a brotherhood? And precisely, a brotherhood who is true to your beliefs and values. A brotherhood that comes through for his guys, whether they like it or not. And trust me, with the guys I hang around with, right? I can tell you for a fact that, bro, their brotherhood is legit. These guys are married. But one thing for sure is, these guys are fucking legit. When they have parties, their wives know each other's wives. And bro, it's very interesting when these guys like form like a circle, right? And the boys are with the boys, the wives are there. Sometimes the wives are right behind them. Sometimes the wives go to form another table. But that energy of, oh, I'm behind my husband while he's talking to his friends, it's a different ballgame. You can basically see that a boy psychology can't get you that. Now you may say, oh, they don't put women, those women are not on the same level with their husbands. Yes. A man's psychology knows that him and his partner are not equal. They know that. Now, they may try to create that image of, okay, because of, I want to give her respect. Let me make her feel, and it's okay to make it's good to make your wife feel, or your partner to feel very good about herself. But deep down, she knows that you know as a man, you have that superiority. She knows that. Then the last thing I'll say about a man's psychology is having values and standing by your beliefs and values, right? Now, here's this. If you watch my short form videos, sometimes you might hear me talk about women, right? And sometimes it's slightly triggering to some women, right? So one of my guys one day, he asked me a question. He says, guy, how do you say all these things and you still have women? And I said this. You see, one thing I've come to realize from my own life is when women hear me say these things, women who are in my life or women who I'm talking to, who go through my Instagram, when they hear me say these things and then they bring them to my attention, it's mostly because they want to see how much audacity I have. For example, a typical example is I'll tell you, don't listen to women because women are emotional at the moment, and guess what? Watch what they are doing, not what they are saying. Women at first will react in the comment section. When she brings it to my attention, I'm like, okay, so where's the life here? First of all, say not all women, that I'm different. But after back and forth, they always be like, oh yeah, now I understand you, now it's true. And I'm like, so why do you bring it up? Simply because they want to test. Again, it's a test. Is this guy the man? Are you the man that she says that she wants to be with? And guess what? Often, more than not, we end up being together. You get the point. So and the boy psychology will say, oh, okay, she's pressure testing me, right? Because this guy, I really don't want to call his name because his brand is pretty fake, right? He's a simp behind closed doors. I'm like, bro, you can't really be a simp behind closed doors and be insulting simps in reality. But at the same time, if you basically watch my vlogs and my spirituality talks, you get to realize that always comes, right? That's why I try my possible best not to bash simps, because when you bash simps, there's a high chance you might end up becoming a simp, if you get the point. So where was I? So yes, if you're not willing to have values and beliefs and stand by them, because whether I like it or not, it's boys that will hear something and will always be changing their mind. That's why one thing you should do is always think for yourself. You can hear an idea in this video, right? You can say it and say, okay, you know what? I don't really agree with him. I don't really agree with Stone. And guess what happens? That's where you begin to have that man mentality. Not because of you want to disagree, but because you're not beginning to think. You're beginning to weigh your own options for yourself. Again, that's like another thing that'll take you to a man's psychology versus a boy psychology, where you can look at your influencer or somebody and say, you know what? bro, I really don't like the way you see things. I really don't like the way you said it. Or this is not true from my experience. And bro, I'll tell you for a fact, one thing for sure is that some things I might say in this video, I may remove some huge context, right? But I know that it's easier for you to know this when you're a guy that takes, you're a man that takes action, right? And you're a man that thinks for himself. You can begin to carve path for yourself, right? And I just remember something right now. So one thing for sure, one new value, one new belief I have now is I've stopped fucking feminists. I've used that word. I've stopped basically being around feminists, right? Because a lot of these guys, right, I've been with like 3 of them, hardcore feminists. Yeah, they are very fun to be with in terms of my point. But I've come to realize that, nah, I don't like that kind of character. I really don't like that kind of character where you bash men out there, but behind closed doors, you're doing a lot. You're doing something different from what you say out there. Nothing really sits well with me. And I'm like, as a man, I'm like, you know what? And when I made such a decision, I'm like, bro, the way I felt hair go over my body, where I was talking about letting them go. Speaking of letting them go, I don't know. So there was a day in my vlog, my camera may have captured this particular statement. So I was working out, and my guy brings a new babe to work out with me because he's basically exhausted. So I was on CrossFit. And then we're just talking. And for some reason, my guy brought up one other babe that I had to cut off. He's the feminist I had to cut off, who made me realize that there's really no point with these feminists. And then, I mean, I wish them good. I'm not trying to, it's about the ones that bash. He's wanted to, I'm trying to the feminists that bash men, right? I always say men are this, men are that, without always generalizing, without having proper context intentionally. So she's like, he says so what happened, one day she was hinting me that she wants us to come together. She's looking for somebody that she can be chilling with. And I acted like I did not hear that statement. So my guy brought it up. It's like, but this babe says that she was looking for somebody she can be with, the other. And my response was, nah, I've been there and I don't think I want to be there anymore. I think I'm probably tired of that. And the girl that was there, she's a 9/10. And she looked at me and was like, nah, you're bluffing. So she was about to say, you're bluffing. But when she looked into my eyes and realized that, okay, like this guy is not bluffing. This guy is legitimately not into that babe. So he's turning down sex. Like, you could tell that energy of, she was like, So she kept quiet. In her mind, she was about to say, oh, you can't do that with me. But when she looked into my eyes and kind of realized that, boy. So at that moment, I kind of like felt very, very powerful to the point where I told myself that if it is sex, bro, it is not a big deal. Again, that is a man's psychology. A man's psychology will not bend his reality all because of cheap sex, pleasure. Whether it's even cheap or not cheap, right? So most of sex comes at a price. Bro, you don't have to bend yourself for anybody. So yes, that's it. If you like any of the ideas that resonated with you, right? And you want to share, if you like any of the ideas you heard in this video, bro, I think I'm exhausted right now. I still have a lot of work to do. So as a man, you really cannot just use your mood to determine your life. So if the ideas in this video resonated with you, so please share with somebody who you will find it helpful. So thank you very much. Talk to you soon. I want you to go out there and go from a boy to a man. I think tomorrow I should also create some little mindset hacks we can use to go from a boy to a man mentality. Talk to you soon and bye for now.